The Dallas Mavericks played maybe their worst offensive game of the entire season in Game 5 versus the Suns. Why? Break that all down and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavs Podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You're locked on the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, for making Locked On Mavs your first listen today and every day. Remember, Locked On Mavs is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to comment anything below. I'm sure there are no Suns fans here commenting "Let's go Suns" below. I'm sure there are none.
Suns fans?
I'm sure
I didn't know there were Suns
I'm
fans.
sure it's the same Suns fans are chanting Suns in 4, the same ones that chanted Suns in 6 tonight.
Orange man.
And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com, the Marquise Crisscross, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Incredible camera work from the crew, just getting that
Oh
tunnel
my
shot.
gosh.
I mean, I didn't mind any of that at the end of the game. I thought it was funny.
The only way that would have made that worse if Marquise Chris ran back there and just clocked Bismack and just to make it the worst night that it could have been.
Biyombo did go for a dunk when they're up by 28 with 3 seconds left. So
I tend to be a person that's like, hey, don't get beat by 30. Instead, like, just the unwritten rules bothered me. It's like, yeah, I get it. He's going for a dunk when you're up 30, like whatever. But
in the play, it's playoffs. The tensions are high. So anyway, I thought that was funny, man. There's just so much went wrong for Dallas tonight that it was just like, holy crap! Just the floodgates, open for Phoenix, and they got back on track and they won their game at home in Game 5, and we're gonna roll this thing back to Dallas in Game 6.
I honestly
Boom, let's do this.
I honestly left Game 5. Mavericks lose 80 to 110. 80 points. I literally left that game thinking, wow, there's no way the Mavericks can play that bad again. I almost felt encouraged. Like, that was literally one of the worst games they've played this entire year. Let's go to the numbers.
Because Dwight Powell.
Let's go to the numbers, shall we? I'm not doing Dwight Powell first segment.
I didn't know if you wanted to touch on that.
Mavs' worst offensive games this year by offensive rating. January, the Knicks game, 92 offensive rating back in January. Tonight, the Suns, 86 offensive rating. March against the Knicks, 85 offensive rating. October, the season opener against the Hawks. Remember that one? Remember that game against the Hawks that looked like just, oh God, this team is so bad. 82.8 offensive rating. And then a week later, that game against the Nuggets, one of the worst, 75 offensive rating from the Mavericks. Like, this game was so bad, it was in that category of bad games for the Mavericks. And honestly, I don't know how much credit I give the Suns in this, because the Mavericks played themselves out of that game so thoroughly and so badly and got in their heads so much that they wouldn't have beaten anybody tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to credit the Suns a little bit. I thought they made some adjustments.
I say that in jest. I'm not like literally giving the Suns no credit. I mean,
yeah. No, well, I thought some of the things Monty did, it was his team. It was his turn to tinker, right? He tinkered with his own adjustments, and
they hadn't made any. The Suns hadn't made any adjustments through the first 4 games at all. They were still doing the same thing, still trying the same stuff. And we were wondering in our last crossover, like, when are the Suns gonna make any adjustments? And here's where it came.
Yeah. So, I mean, they, the obvious move for them was pretty much saying, hey, JaVale, you're out of the rotation. We're replacing you with Biyombo, and
Cam.
Cam's out too. But, Biyombo's decent on the perimeter. Like, he's mobile. Like, it's kind of a weird kind of subplot for his career of, was he done? Like, is he going to play again? And then he's just like third center on their team. And now he's playing like good minutes for him, and he defends well on the perimeter. That was a tiny tinkering move for them. You know, he played 21 minutes, but it was solid minutes for him. I thought one of the more underrated things is they timed their doubles on Luka perfectly.
Yes.
Like how they game planned that when they brought the double, when they showed of like, hey, we're going to kind of halfway double you and like show it, but we're not going to fully commit to the double. I thought they played Luka really well defensively like that. You know, they went to the Mikal on Brunson, you know, Crowder on Luka early, like first quarter early. You know, earlier than normal. They tinker with a little bit in the fourth in a previous game. They just had a bunch of like smaller things outside of, hey, making shots, outside of Devin Booker being super efficient tonight and doing what, I mean, Booker did what a star was supposed to do as far as like shooting wise. Like he put the ball in the basket and on a big stage. And I mean, he's the main reason why they won game 5.
For sure. The Suns did everything they needed to do to win this game.
All right, that's as most I can say positive.
I was going to say, but I don't think the Suns even made that many defensive adjustments. The Mavs still in the first quarter got everything they wanted on offense. They got every matchup they wanted. They got the Chris Paul one-on-ones from Luka and Brunson. They got open threes. They got, you know, kick out threes. They got everything that they wanted to get. They had an offensive rating 144 after the first quarter. Remember that I told you it was one of their worst offensive games. So that's how bad the last 3 quarters were. Their first quarter went almost as well as they could have expected offensively. But
yeah,
that's not the way the Mavericks have won this series at all. The Mavericks have not won this series outgunning or out efficiencying the Suns, right? Like it was 144 to 121 offense defensive rating for the Mavs in the first quarter, and the Mavericks have won this series by mucking it up, by making it a slower game, which it was in that first quarter, but by limiting the Suns and not letting them score at will. They had that offensive rating, that defensive rating for the Mavs in the first quarter is not one that they have won in this series against the Suns. Like you just don't allow them to score that efficiently and they win the game. And they were able to get the Suns were able to get the same stuff that they got in the first quarter, in the second quarter and the third, and were making them more often. And then the Mavericks couldn't rely on their offense to hit, 4 out of 8 from 3 like they did in the first quarter. And it tanked from there. And you could see this Mavs team just like deflate after those threes didn't go in. And honestly, we've gone too far without putting some blame on Luka, because I thought that second quarter.
I can't go there anymore.
What? Blame Luka?
It's not worth it.
Because I thought that he runs the offense, right? And I thought that when he was running the offense, it just looked so flat. It looked so much like he was just trying to take advantage of mismatches, and he just forced a bunch of jumpers, and I just didn't think he played a particularly good game. And didn't
the start. I mean, the start of this game.
Well, great.
The first 6 minutes, the first half of the first quarter,
just the whole first quarter.
I think a lot of us were like, "Is this going to be an all-timer Luka game?"
We've been waiting for one.
Yeah, I mean, he starts off like 3 of 3. Like he had some good moments there. Dorian hits a couple threes. They finally threw the first punch in a game. It's like, let's go. We're not going down early, and all this.
They start off 10-3. The Mavericks are up 10-3.
That's how you want to start this game 5 on the road. And Luka, particularly, like he had his shot looked good. He had energy. But man, I made a note of it. Like that 6-minute mark in the first quarter. Then I don't know. It was weird. It was like Luka. I'm not gonna go into too much Luka stuff, but lackadaisical is a word I'll just throw out there. It felt lackadaisical out there from him, and he started settling.
I marked at the 2-minute mark. They had 2 shot clock violations. Like everything was going right for them in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden 2 shot clock violations basically in a row after a weird timeout that they had to take. Like that's how bad it got, and then it just went completely downhill from there. And it's not all on Luka, the offense, for sure. I did think that Brunson had a pretty good game though when he was playing. Because Brunson's job is pretty easy. Luka's is very hard, right? Luka's job in this offense is the offense. His job is to run the offense. It's very hard. He has to be really sharp. His passes have to be perfect. He has to do so much stuff right. And so I understand having an off game for sure. But then if he has an off game, then the Mavericks just have an off game because they don't have enough talent around him to be able to step up. Without Brunson even had a pretty decent game, 21 points for him. He's 9 of 17. He was like the only guy scoring in the third quarter really at all. But this game was just so bad for the Mavericks offensively that you almost just throw it out. It's one of those games throughout the year. If this was a regular season game, Isaac and I would have gotten on this podcast the way we did after those Knicks games, the way that we did after that Hawks game, and just be like, this is a game that happens like once a month. You kind of throw it out and then you just move on to the next thing. So coming up, what things can we take away from this game? How did it go so bad in the third quarter, and who else maybe stood out that that deserves some blame here? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about the best thing you can do for your body in 60 seconds. It's AG1 Athletic Greens. We started taking Athletic Greens because we wanted something that helps and that gives us the vitamins that we need. You can go and get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. It's a blend of ingredients to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, and aging, all those things. Every single one of those things it can help you out with. So check out Athletic Greens. The product is AG1, and to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance, Athletic Greens AG1. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen this day. Touches my heart that you're making Locked On Mavs a listen today. Now go check out the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. Our boy Rafael Barlow from NBA Draft Junkies and Chad Ford gave him the NBA Big Board newsletter. That's a huge deal. He's hosting it with our friend of the pod, Richard Stamen, aka Mavs Draft, and others to give you an in-depth look at the NBA draft, mock draft, player rankings, all that stuff. And of course, Big Board's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On NBA Big Board. All right, Isaac. We talked about Luka a little bit, and he was just off in this game. It seemed like he was trying to take too many mismatches, take advantage of guys too much, and the Suns played pretty good one-on-one defense. Luka still wasn't getting body fouls in this game. He went to the line and shot 7 free throws, but he wasn't getting the fouls that he wanted. Take that as you will. But and he had 2 assists in this game. The Suns decided again to like, hey, we are not going to let these other guys beat us. We're going to let Luka beat us one-on-one, and Luka didn't have it in him tonight to beat him one-on-one, and that was kind of the game.
The Mavs have 4 assists in the first quarter. They finished the game with 9. So they literally had 5 assists over the last 3 quarters. I mean, in a
9
way,
assists has got to be a record too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in a way that's the story of the game, right? Like, I mean, Tim McMahon had a tweet there towards the end of the game. He said, Suns have 18 assists, 6 turnovers. The Mavs have 7 assists, 16 turnovers. It's like, I mean, you just can't roll with that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
9 assists in a game. Only one team this entire season in the regular season has had less than 9 assists in one game.
Wow.
The Toronto Raptors in February against the Pelicans in a game that they lost by 30.
Yeah, so, and I think, it's a combination of Dallas missing their shots. Reggie went over 3 tonight. They didn't get their 3-pointers up. Like he only
got 3 threes.
Yeah, they only attempted 32 as a team. Dorian only attempted 5, Reggie 3. Game 4, they both attempted over 10, double-digit threes. This feels like a broken record that we keep on saying is they got to shoot them. Like, keep launching them, but the way you shoot them is you get into the paint. And Dallas that's the whole key for Dallas. They just stopped getting into the paint. They stopped trying to get to the rim to kick it out to these guys. And sometimes when they did, this is where that little tinkering when it comes to Phoenix, they stayed home a little bit better. They showed the double, got Luka to kind of like, hey, throw it to a guy. And then they picked off how many turnovers Luka finished with. He had 4, so it wasn't that bad, but
no, the turnovers weren't on him.
Yeah, so it's just, I thought it was that combination of they play better defense, staying home a little bit more on Phoenix's side, and Dallas just didn't make the shots.
Yeah, that is what it is. That third quarter was just so bad. At the 2-minute mark, 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the third quarter, the Mavericks had 8 points in the third. Like, through the first 10 minutes, they had 8 points and 11 turnovers in the third quarter. Like, that is just mind-blowingly so bad that there's no real way to explain it. It's just everything that could have gone bad for the Mavs did. And there's reasons for it.
Well, you just like pick your stat that you want to go.
I know
over,
everything
right?
went wrong.
You know, we were joking that somebody tweeted at me during the, towards the end of the game was like, yeah, what about that rebounding battle? I'm like, all right, well, what stat do you want to talk about tonight? Because points in the paint, they lost about 20. Second chance points, 14-2. Phoenix had 14 of them because they had 12 offensive rebounds. Bench points 38-23 for Phoenix.
Points off turnovers.
Assists. We talked about assists, but Phoenix had 28. Dallas had 9. It's almost a 20 different, differential when it comes to assists. So like you just go across the board, and I mean Phoenix they played the better game, and everything hinged for Phoenix on that third quarter. The third quarter, the punch that you've been expecting from Phoenix to start games, it's like they saved it and said, we're going to throw this sucker in the third quarter. And
the first quarter, the Mavs really took the Suns out of their game. It felt like the Mavs made the punch, and then the Suns had a punch coming because they just do. Like this, we have to remember, even after a 2-2 series, like this Suns team is still really, really good. They were incredible in the clutch. They can turn it on when they want, and they did in this game. And it just happened to be in that third quarter. And then the Mavericks, at the same time the Suns were giving their punch, the Mavericks were just like pooping in a cardboard box somewhere else, like just not doing anything. Right.
So that third quarter, Phoenix won that third quarter 33-14. All right. 16 points in the paint in that third quarter. Dallas had 12 turnovers in the third quarter. 12 turnovers in the third quarter on that. They only had 1 assist in the third quarter. They only had 2 free throws. They shot 12% from 3 in the third quarter. I mean, that's the quarter that just sunk them. And it felt like anything they tried to do, they didn't do it well. Then they started making bad decisions. They started settling a lot. It was kind of weird. There was times that you felt like, or at least I felt like, I'm like, ooh, this stage is really big for this Dallas team right now. This is one of those learning moments. Hey, series tied 2-2, 3-game series. You're on the road facing the best team in the league. It's the biggest stage of their NBA careers for almost all of those dudes, right? Like this is the biggest NBA game in Luka's career so far. You could argue the game 7, against the Clippers, but this second round, this is almost bigger than that. So I don't know. It's just not much went right for Dallas tonight.
No. Somebody, a Mavs writer is Cato or Iztok or
start.
I know, right? Somebody made the analogy that the Mavericks were playing. I think it was Iztok was making the analogy that the Mavericks were using guerrilla warfare, where you just like have to just throw whatever you can out. And honestly, just like this was one of those where like the reason why you have to do guerrilla warfare is because the other team is so much better than you and built so much better than you, has more talent than you and all that. You have to come up with these different advantages and somehow take Chris Paul out of the game. And Bullock, I thought, still did a really good job on Chris Paul, at least through the first half. You and I were texting about that during the game. Bullock did a good job. We thought, they were at least doing it. They had been taking Ayton out of the game the last couple of games, and that didn't happen in this game. He was able to get to some stuff. But all of a sudden, when those things that like you try to cause chaos and all those different things that you try to do to mess up a game when you're overmatched, when those things start falling by the wayside, then all of a sudden it just starts, it's domino effect. And it's just like all those things stop working because the Mavs have to have all those things working to win games. And they did in game 3 and 4. It worked. They played their defense. Chris Paul got taken out or was taken out, or the Mavs took him out of the game, whatever you want to decide to say that. Ayton was out of the game because he just wasn't playing aggressive. And in this game, he honestly didn't even have to be that more aggressive. You could tell from the jump that he wanted to be more aggressive. He had that offensive foul. He started at 18 feet, like the first possession of the game, and he just rammed right into Dwight Powell. It was an offensive foul, pretty obvious one. And you could tell
Derrick Henry tried to get through the line right there.
And you could tell he was going to try to be a little bit more aggressive in this game. Man, he only ended up playing 22 minutes.
But he only played 22 minutes. But I thought that was a tinkering for Phoenix too. Of hey, you got to get DeAndre Ayton the ball. Like if you have DeAndre Ayton on your team and you want to pay him big money this offseason, I mean, we don't know if they want to pay him or not, but it's like he had 20 points in this game. I know he only had 9 boards, but 20 points is different than
22 minutes.
Yeah, 20 points at 22 minutes. He had more of a presence or impact on this game than those, games 3 and 4. Let's talk about coming up in the third segment. Let's talk about Dwight Powell. You sent out a tweet at the end of the game. I mean, we know you're Mav State media. We know you love to take up for Dwight. Why is Dwight coming up next? We'll tell you why Dwight Powell is the Michael Gallup for the Mavs.
Leave it to you to like set up a really good tease and then just punt on it late. We'll talk about all that and more coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. Guys, sources say,
ooh, let's go.
One of our favorite bars may be coming back for a limited time, a very limited time. You got to check built.com. One of our favorite bars we keep talking about. Maybe coming back for a very limited time. But if you're on the website right now, you can get the Churro Puff, 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, 6 grams of sugar in a bar covered in 100% chocolate with marshmallow in the middle. Delicious, great. I eat them all the time. Probably going to order some new ones soon. I've completely run out of Built bars. You can go get them at built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. That's locked, the number 1 and the number 5, LOCKED15. To get 15% off your entire order. Their website says it really big and bold. 100% real chocolate, 100% delicious, and I 100% agree with that. Go to built.com, promo code LOCKED15, get 15% off your entire order at built.com. All right, Isaac, explain to me why Dwight Powell was such a big problem in this game.
No, I'm asking you because fans were talking a lot about Dwight during the game.
There was a lot of talk about Dwight Powell in this game. And by fans, and I understand fans being frustrated, fans being upset, but it really
Twitter fans, which is a smaller,
it really took me back to like moments in the regular season when people complained about Dwight Powell, and I was like, man, we haven't had this much complaining about Dwight Powell in a long time for the Mavericks. Like, not even game 1 and 2 did people complain about Dwight Powell. Dwight played 7 minutes in this game, so I said he's clearly not the main problem for this Mavericks team in this game. They've won 2 games against this Suns team. It's possible. If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here. I didn't believe, and then the Mavericks proved me dead wrong for 2 games.
But Nick, the Mavs lost by 30. Those 7 minutes.
But the Mavericks proved they can win against the Suns team. And so for Dwight Powell to play 7 minutes, it can't be the main problem. There's other things that had to have gone wrong. And so for that to be the main complaint. Now, he played 7 minutes. He played 3 minutes in the third quarter. And people were saying, well, he played 3 minutes and that's when the Suns started building up their momentum. And then that's when they went on the run. Maybe. I don't know if I believe in momentum that much to say that it starts in a 3-minute period and the Mavs lose the game in those 3 minutes. Like, is that how it works? I don't know. I've seen this Mavs team come back from down 10, down 18 at times in this game. Now, I think I've said that like 8 times now. Now, is center a problem for the Mavericks? Yes. How long have we said it's a problem for the Mavericks? 2 series in a row now we've been saying, oh, this is not a series for Dwight. His minutes have gone down. He's literally
every game. Now he's under 8 minutes.
He's literally just playing. And the reason why he's still playing is just to give Maxey some time, right? Like, Maxey can't play 48 minutes. Dwight is literally just playing to play a little defense on Ayton, to go out there and maybe catch a lob or two, and then to just give Maxey some time because Maxey can't play 48 minutes and the Mavs have no other real options.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Dwight's playing. So to me, he wasn't the main problem for sure. But it is a Mavs roster problem. And we've talked about it for a long time.
It's a problem. I'm waiting to see how big of a problem. That's what I've been waiting on, of like, hey, yeah, it's a problem. But like, if they go to the conference finals, is it a massive problem? I don't know. Let me figure that out.
Which could still happen.
Which could still happen. I've joked about the Dwight thing. I'm with you on it. Like, is Dwight amazing? No. Is he a smaller reason why they lost this game? Yeah.
He was bad. His minutes were bad, right? I'm not
great.
I'm not sitting up here, Mav State media, being like, oh, come on. Do you guys not see the value that Dwight Powell is bringing to this game? Like, I'm not doing that, right? I'm just saying it's not the biggest
those
problem.
Pixie sets. I'm going against myself here. But screen assists. But I'm with you on the sense of, like, we can't be that much in uproar over a 30-point loss when a guy played 7 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay?
No, I'm just not getting mad at that.
It'd be different if this guy was rolled out for 32 minutes in this game and he was a minus 24 and we're like, dude, this was huge. Like, I could understand the backlash on that. Can we talk about Devin Booker just real quick? So
I'll try.
If they're playing Giannis, let's just say this.
The Mavs are playing Giannis.
If the Mavs are playing Giannis in the Bucks, And, Giannis bully balls Luka in the post or whatever it is. And he falls on the ground and he stands over Luka, or he's flopping, or he makes fun of Luka. I'm not going to really say a ton, right? Because Giannis doesn't flop. Like, Giannis is going to play his basketball.
I think the Celtics would disagree with you in this series because the series is nuts between those two teams. But for the most part, he does not nearly as much as Luka.
Wait, Celtics fans are complaining that Giannis flops all the time.
No, that he does flop.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to look at him and be like, bro, you're such a, are you aware that you do this all the time? And now you're making fun of somebody else. I'm not sitting here arguing that Luka isn't a flopper. Luka sells stuff too. He was just laughing with Chris Paul the other day. He sells, he flops too. I get all of that. But the Devin Booker stuff just makes me, it makes you almost laugh, because I'm like, bro, do you have awareness? We all know people in our life that you're bro, man, they really don't have, they're the least aware person I've ever seen.
They start talking crap about one of your other friends and you're like, damn, you don't even have your life together. What are you talking about?
What's going on? And it's this guy,
that dude's so fat.
Booker is so talented, and he was so efficient. I literally felt like every shot he was taking and I was going in. But the dude, every time he drives, is throwing the head up. I'm like, bro, your neck has to hurt tonight. And he's flopping. He does this thing. He's learning from Chris Paul.
He sells calls. He got that flagrant foul from Dorian was
God.
How much? 50%, 75% Booker selling the call, and he got it. He got the call.
He lays on the ground. You got to lay on the ground now. And that's league wide. I tweeted that out. It's that's a league wide thing. It's not a Suns thing.
It's gotten bad.
You got to just lay on the ground, because that will make them review it. That will impact the call. But it's just
Joe Borgia, the referee, one of the head referee guys that gets on the broadcast and talks and explains, this is why the referees came to this decision, flagrant 1, flagrant 2. He said, well, the way that he took the foul was one of the reasons why they're looking into this. The way he took the foul, what does that even mean? That's literally just selling the call. And he got the foul call, so good for him. But
I know you don't like when I say this, because you're in a different camp of this. But this is the soft league now. And
soft,
because I do lean more towards old school stuff, missing some of the old school parts of games, of the physicality of it.
You had Reggie Miller muted, but Reggie Miller, when that foul first happened, he goes, that's a good hard playoff foul. Reggie Miller's gotten fouled way worse than that. It wasn't a flagrant in his
Nothing
day.
About that was flagrant foul. He is on. But once again, that foul didn't determine the game. Okay.
No,
we're not trying to say that. It's frustrating when you see a guy like Booker that's so good, that flops all the times and sells the calls and all this stuff. Then when he's laying on the ground and he rolls over laughing, we've all seen the clip by now, and he says the Luka special. And it's bro, obviously, I don't
if
know
anything, it's the Chris Paul special.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's is it a jealous thing? You jealous of Luka? Why are you why is the uncalled shot there whenever you do this all the time? And that's the part that makes Booker such an easy target for people to dislike. And it's unfortunate because he's so dang good.
A great heel for this series for Mavs.
Chris Paul is moving towards the end of his career, and Booker's let me catch that baton for you. I will carry this as the seller, as the flopper, and as the the really good player, really talented player that will sell. So it's just unfortunate. But
yeah, Booker. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about Booker flopping, because Luka flops a lot too, and Luka sells calls and all.
I said that. I'm just saying that I would say the same thing if Luka is standing up, or he's saying, "Oh yeah, Devin Booker special flopping." I'll be like, "All right, come on, Luka. You flop all the time too." It's the fact that it's that person flops all the time and sells stuff so bad. It's you can't really say something about somebody else like that. Take a shot. There's a difference between telling the ref or a courtside fan hey, that's a flop type of thing. But he's the Luka special, joking, this is just the Luka thing. Come on, that's just childish, really. Soft. He's soft. There you go. Sure.
You want to talk about Dwight Powell some more?
Do we have to talk about anything else? Frank Ntilikina,
Marquise Chris and Bismack Biyombo got into it after the game. And Bismack, they both got ejected because Bismack Biyombo tried to dunk with 2 seconds left in the game. Marquise Chris took offense to it. I tend to just be like, whatever, just let the guy dunk. You already lost. Like, your team lost the game. Why are you upset? Well, because of some unwritten rule to not run the score up. I tend to not care about that. But Marquise Chris didn't like it. And so he turns around and goes, starts jarring at Bismack. And then Bismack comes back at him. And then they both get ejected. The referee comes up and just points in 2 different directions. Like, you guys are out of here. Just immediate ejection. Didn't even think about it. There's only 2 seconds left. Bismack starts running down the tunnel. And then all of a sudden, Marquise Chris starts running down the same tunnel. Yeah. And everyone was confused, was trying to figure out what was happening. And this incredible camera angle that hopefully you've seen by now, down the hallway of Bismack Biyombo, turning the corner. And then all of a sudden, Marquise Chris's head pops out from around the corner and starts yelling at him in the tunnel. He yells at him for a little bit, and then he walks back. And then he goes back to his locker room. Nothing really came from it. I'm sure
Chris played in Phoenix, so
I'm sure there will be some blog somewhere that wonders if he went through a secret tunnel to try and to try and go at Bismack Biyombo and try to get at him. So beware of those blogs out there. But yeah, nothing really happened.
Did Chris fight Biyombo post game? Read here.
Honestly, I don't know if I'd pick Marquise Chris in that fight. Bismack is the sturdiest dude.
But Marquise Chris has legit been warned by the league for his on-court antic stuff. There's a world that the next big thing like that for Chris, he's getting suspended a lot of games because
wait, hold on. Is that the reason why Jason Kidd won't play Marquise Chris in the series? Because it's too tense and you can't trust him out there? Can't trust him not to fight somebody.
I think you can't.
In this game, they may have needed somebody to fight somebody. They're so bad.
One thing I am a little worried about, we got to see, he was on the bench at the end of the game, but Reggie's health, he had that weird kind of knee thing at the end of the game there. It didn't look like there was hardly any contact on it, but he went straight to the locker room. He was on the bench towards the end during the Chris thing. You saw him over there cheering. So that's at least a good sign that
he's standing up. He seemed to be standing up.
So hopefully he's good to go with that. I think we can talk about this a little bit more tomorrow, but if you want to look at the one other positive angle to this is
another one.
The Mavericks are about to go at least 6 games against the Suns, and Spencer Dinwiddie's been a no-show.
Awful.
And it's
we haven't given him enough blame in this pot. He was so bad in this game.
So bad. The moment looks a little bit too big for him.
Yeah.
But it's honestly kind of wild though, that he's gave him nothing basically. And in this game, he had that one game where he had 20. But it's he's had a pretty bad series, and Dallas is going to take this Suns team to at least 6 games, possibly 7, possibly win the series. And Dinwiddie hasn't had, Dinwiddie's not averaging 18, 19 points in the
Dinwiddie
series.
didn't have 20 against the Suns.
I thought he had 20
8, 11, 4, 10. And tonight he had 2. That's his point totals in this series. No, you're thinking of, he had couple 20-point games in the Jazz series, and he had 19 in that closeout game against the Jazz. But no, he's been a no-show in this series. I was trying to give him credit last series because he wasn't efficient, but he was at least producing. He's not producing in this, and he just looks like there are so many moments in the game I pull my hair out because the Mavericks have done everything possible. They've set all the chess pieces, and so the center, Bismack or Ayton or whoever, is pulled out to either the right wing or next to him or something, to where as long as Dinwiddie just gets past the defender in front of him, then there will be a guard that comes over and helps, like Chris Paul or Bridges or somebody, and he's just got to beat them to the one side of the rim, and he just doesn't do it, and he just pulls up for threes, and it just doesn't make any sense to me the way he's playing right now. The moment does look a little bit too big for him, which is really unfortunate for the Mavericks because he had been a pretty big game player for them during the end of the regular season.
Yeah. And before you have any doubts about the KP trade, if some of you are out there, no, because Bertans is basically giving you what KP did last year. Bertans is 11 of 18 for 3 in the series. Do you want to take a guess how many threes KP hit against the Clippers last year in 6 games?
When he was just standing in the corner?
Yeah, he had 8 threes. He was 8 of 27 from 3 in that series. So Bertans has already hit 3 more threes than KP did all series against the Clippers. Obviously, KP does a little bit more, but you do that trade 10 out of 10 times.
But these 2 guards would hunt KP mercilessly.
Yes.
All the times they're hunting Luka on defense right now, they would hunt KP every single. Think about the way that when the Mavericks played the Nuggets and Jamal Murray in the bubble, and remember when Jamal Murray just went at Porzingis over and over and over again. Yeah. It just would have been that over and over again, these two guards, right? Right now, the Mavericks don't have guys besides Luka, I guess, for being, tired and slow, that those two guards can hunt like that. Mm-hmm. They've made their roster up pretty good.
Not playing, guys.
but he would have been doing that. So
I just wanted to point that out there because I know the Dinwiddie stuff. He's been a no-show, and it's like I feel like there'd be some fan out there be like, "Oh, this is the low-hanging fruit. I gotta go for it." What about KP? And it's like, no, sorry.
No, it's not. Wash your hands clean of this. This was the one of the, honestly, I think the worst offensive game the Mavericks have played, because this is the first game since the trade that they've played this offensively bad. Like, just all-time worst game for the Mavericks. Game 6 at home should be a really, really fired up crowd.
Get those tickets, baby.
Should be a really motivated Luka and Brunson and everybody to be able to get this game back and make it a game 7. And then in game 7s, honestly, anything can happen.
Anything
is possible.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen.
There it is, guys. Tomorrow we will be back breaking down some more what the Mavericks need to do in Game 6 to bounce back. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA with John Corrales and Jake Madison, two of my favorites. Biggest stories around the NBA Monday through Friday in 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. It's Locked On NBA. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.